Highway operator Project Lintasan Kota Holdings, or Prolintas, is looking to ease the post-COVID-19 congestion in the Klang Valley through the recent opening of two new highways, Suke and Dash. We talked to Prolintas CEO Datuk Muhammad Azlan Abdullah about the challenges of building a massive infrastructure during a pandemic, his traffic expectations for Suke and Dash, and what else awaits Prolintas on the road ahead. Traffic has returned very much with a vengeance, right? And congestion is once more becoming a very common problem for Malaysians. In this respect, is the completion of the highways that Prolintas is in charge of coming at the right time?
I believe to a certain extent with the completion of our two new completed highways, namely Suke or Suka, depending how you want to pronounce it, and Dash, basically Sungai Besi Ulu Klang Expressway and Damansara Shah Alam Expressway. Like I said, to a certain extent, I believe, yes, it helps to alleviate or improve your travelling time, especially to the daily commuters in those particular areas. So
very important.
Yeah, it's very important. And as you said, when the economy open up, activities back to normal, when you first open, then I think among the main issue was traffic jam.
Yes.
So at that time we were about to complete, when we were nearing completion. And once we open up, I think, and of course I myself tested it myself. All the team members went to the ground, and yes, we believe that to a certain extent it has improved the travel time, and it is timely that we believe, barring any unforeseen circumstances coming up. Hopefully not another pandemic or not another MCO and whatnot. In the long run, it will improve a lot.
Saying about numbers, right? So what is your traffic projection then for the two highways in 2023?
Start with Dash. Okay, we are looking at about 60,000 vehicles per day, and so far it has been encouraging. It has been, in fact, on certain days, it basically exceeds our expectation. But if you look at on the average since the opening, not taking into account during the first 1.5 months toll-free period, of course, during that toll-free period, naturally people are excited, people were like looking forward to this new highway. Then when we started to impose the toll charges, then naturally that we expect it goes down, but still within our projection. Like I said, 50 to 60,000 cars a day. For Suke, currently we are opening 70% of the whole stretch, and we are looking at between 60 to 70,000 cars a day. Once we open the whole stretch in 2023, then we are looking at 100 to 120,000 vehicles per day.
Of course, the government has big plans for public transport as well, especially in the city centre. And all of this is almost like a complete map, right? Especially for Malaysia and the way it's kind of laid out. How will these two expressways then complement public transport? Because it is all about flow. We mentioned about it, right? It's all about flow. So how does that help?
In particular for Suke and Dash, I think it is vital that, or even in any potential new planning or design of a new highways in the future, it is also critical or a factor that need to be taken into account to link this into all these public transport points. Yeah. And in our case, for Dash, for example, there is two in and out entry and exit points directly into Kota Damansara MRT station, for example. In fact, one of the ramps going into the highway is basically next to, just after the station. Likewise in Suke, where one of the exit and entry points along Suke Highway is right smack in the Pekan Ampang, and there's a Ampang LRT station there. Perhaps in the future, any city highways, the planning and the design, like I said earlier, should perhaps focus or take into account this accessibility or connectivity, not just among the existing highway network system, but also, as you said, the public transport transit points.
What are the plans for Prolintas going forward? Now that we are out of pandemic and into endemic and things are picking up again, we can tell that by the definitely by the traffic on the road. So what are the big plans then?
With the completion of these 2 new highways, so that basically added up to a total number of 6 highways network or portfolio that we have under the group. And basically we position ourselves, number one, as to become the best city highway provider. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we are not an interstate kind of highway network. We are within
a
city connecting suburbs, districts and whatnot. So on that note, I think for us it's time for me, is about adding value to our users. So we have exciting plans in our way forward with regards to other development or other activities that we can, again, I use the word add value to the users, taking into account the demographic profile of our users, taking into account the areas where our highways
are targeted,
the target audience, the targeted areas and whatnot. So I can give you a quick examples that what we have done in the last couple of years in our existing highway that we already have, or we have been in operation for quite a number of years. Number one, for example, Lebuh Raya Kemuning Shah Alam, Laksa, in Shah Alam, near Alam Impian, where we have a plot of land that we have developed into an event space. So, so you can see from there, and it's going to be in full operations in January 2023. And this is where you can have events, you can do your product launch. It's a place where we invested in putting into the proper landscape, car parks, a proper venue, fully equipped. It's Instagrammable, worthy kind of place that people can book the venue for big events. You can accommodate 800 kind of
That's
people.
unusual for a highway company to do that.
So it's something that, again, this is where I said we have to go beyond the normal highways kind of element. Like I said, we are city highways. So we want to create our highways as point of destination. It's not just people,
using going back and forth.
Back on that, So we can, other than commuting, you create an activity that they use the highway and to get to that venue. Yeah.